Hi everyone, it's me, Tim. Today I want to talk about Shadowdark. It is the new thing I'm into. It's Friday. I figured I'd do a fun Friday about it. Let me tell you why I like it so much. First of all, there's been this OSR trend. I think it stands for old school rules, but people argue what it stands for. I don't care. It's things like Dungeon Crawl Classics, which I do have a few of. But what I love about the OSR trend is it's starting to feel like people are looking towards the old days of how tabletop RPGs used to be. And for everyone, there's a different reason. Some people like the rules. Some people like the settings. Some people like just some of the simplicity of it. For whatever reason, I like it because for me, it's very nostalgic. And when I was looking into OSR, I got the Dungeon Crawl Classics right away. But looking into it led me to Shadowdark. Now, let me just tell you up front, I'm not paid. I bought this book. This isn't a sponsorship. I just really liked what I saw online. Bought the book, which came immediately with a PDF, so I could start reading it immediately, even before my book shipped. I haven't played it yet, but I really, really, really want to. Now, let me tell you what it is I love so much about this game. It's so good that I had to write down everything I liked about it because it's a huge list. Let me tell you what it is. First of all, there's a huge simplicity in both rules and player motivation. And let me talk about those a little separately. It's considered a rules-light game, and I completely agree with that. There used to be a joke back when I first started playing D&D, or when it was called AD&D, for Advanced Dungeons & Dragons, and it was made by TSR, Tactical Studies Rules. But my friends and I used to call it TSR, Too Many Stupid Rules. It was just, there were so many rules, especially if you go through the DM's guide of the original AD&D, I guarantee you will find whole swaths of rules nobody used. Grappling rules, item saving throws. In both the DM's guide and the player's handbook, they had armor adjustment by weapon. So depending on what weapon you used, you looked at the base armor type of the enemy and it got bonuses and penalties. I knew very few people who used those. It was very complicated. It didn't seem to add much to the game, so people just got rid of it. Well, Shadowdark seemed to be based on the idea of we won't even introduce those rules. It is very simple. You can get going right away, and if you've played any version of D&D, you're going to recognize these rules. And you get to use all your dice. So unlike some games where like we're going to be all D6s or we're going to be all D10s or D20s, this game uses D4s, D6s, D8s, D10s, D12s, and D20s. And since you know I have a dice addiction, I like that. I like that I get to use all my dice. I also love that they included not just good criticals, but bad criticals. So a good critical is when you roll a natural 20, you get some kind of bonus, you do extra damage, maybe your spells work better. But I also like that they included bad things on a 1. So maybe you miss and drop your weapon, or for spells, if you roll a natural 1, you now can't cast that spell again until you've taken a long rest. I like that because it gives a sense of danger, which this game is totally sits on. Whenever you do something, there's a chance you're going to mess up. And the mess up has penalties. They're usually not permanent. But what I love about the losing of that spell until your next rest is it forces you to rely more on your other spells, which you may not be doing that, but now you have to. Your fireball, you rolled a 1, your fireball's gone until you rest. What else do you have in your arsenal? I love that. Also, the light set of rules encourages very fast play. And if you've ever been at a table with a rules lawyer, you know what I'm talking about. And I'm not just saying that as a DM. Sitting as a player next to a player that questions every rule and is always bringing up, well, I can do this because on page 97 where the rule is, there's a footnote that talks about going to an appendix, and I do this and I can get away with that. And you're just like, okay, I forget what we were doing now because, Mr. Rules Lawyer spent the last 10 minutes arguing with the DM about whether or not he gets a +2 or a +3. Who cares? So I love that because there just isn't enough complex rules in here to ever have those kind of arguments. So that's what I like about the rules. But what I talked about, motivation, I love that it is a very simple player motivation baked into the game. You are looking for riches in dangerous dark areas, like dungeons, like old ruins, like old growth forests, places that are dark, gloomy, but may have lots of stuff for you to find that you can make a lot of money and maybe get some powerful magic items. And that's it. There's no, we have to save the entire country or the universe or the multiverse. There's none of that. You're basically just going into it for the most primal of motivations, greed. And I like it. They've even taken alignment back to what it was originally, which is just lawful, chaotic, or neutral. There's no good or evil axis, although it's kind of lawful good, chaotic evil, with neutral in the middle for everybody else. I love this, especially when you combine alignment with, since you're not trying to save the universe, you're just trying to get rich. It's a very basic motivation for the player. Am I trying to be a good person and obey the laws? Am I a bad person and I flout the laws? Or am I somewhere in between? And that's it. I also like the rules about experience points. You basically get it from treasure. I mean, there's something else about boons, but it's pretty much just treasure. Not from killing, which means you don't have to kill monsters or kill bad guys or whatever. As long as you get the treasure, you get XP based on the quality of that treasure, not necessarily even the quantity. So you get XP based on how much loot you bring back home. I love that. It's simple, and it also aligns the player's goals with the stated game's goals if you're just going into old places and trying to steal stuff. I also like that, like when I say you should give quest XP in video games and not kill XP, it also makes it so you can have any kind of character in Shadowdark and they get XP if they get the loot out. Did they talk their way through it? Did they sneak past the monster? Did they kill the monster? Doesn't matter. You got the loot. There's also something called luck tokens, and I like luck. That was my single attribute addition to Fallout. In here, they're given as a reward if you roleplay well. If you roleplay really well, the DM will give you a luck token or 2, or maybe 3. Luck tokens do one thing. You spend them, and then they're gone, and they let you re-roll a die. And I also love that when you re-roll the die, you have to take the new roll. So it's not you re-roll and take the better of the two. It's not advantage. You suddenly get advantage on this roll. It's if you roll badly, you can re-roll. But if you roll badly again, you just got to take it. I like that. I love that element of chance and danger. It's everywhere in this game. And then, of course, the reason it's called Shadowdark is the darkness in this game is really bad, and almost everywhere you go is going to be dark. There's no dark vision on any player race, but a lot of the monsters have it. And the way it works is random encounters occur when you're in the dark. When you're in the dark. So if you don't have a light source, you're going to be getting a lot of random encounters, and also stumbling around because you can't see. I love that stuff. It kind of turns the entire title of the game into, hey, this is what's going to be happening. So if this has gone on a long time, I realize it sounds like an extended ad for Shadowdark, and I guarantee you that's not the case. This, to be simple and to the point, that's what I love about Shadowdark. It's simple and to the point, which is extraordinarily refreshing these days. It's not, you don't have to go out and buy, half a dozen books. Thanks, Windows. You don't have to go out, and your players don't have to buy a book. In fact, they offer a quickstart guide, a PDF quickstart guide for free. So you can start playing Shadowdark right now if you want to. But let me tell you the personal thing that I really liked about this. This book, all the art in it, Let me see if I can find a page with some art. All the artwork in it is black and white. So I see this book the same way you see the book. Sometimes I buy a new tabletop role-playing game and it's glossy printed and has all these gorgeous pieces of art in it that I'm not sure I'm seeing right with my color blindness. Shadowdark, it's all black and white. I love it. Anyway, I recommend you check this out, even if you just grab the quickstart PDF and read about it. I think you'll like it. I can't wait to play it. Anyway, that's my Fun Friday video.